Hey everyone, welcome back to the Kempire Daily YouTube channel for our weekly recap of the Real Housewives of Potomac. Latest episode with my girl, of course, Lailah Lynn. She's traveling, but she will be back next week and we'll be live on her channel, right?
Yes. She's next in the rotation.
It's hard to keep up. But before we get into that, be sure to like this video if you haven't liked it already. And be sure to subscribe to Lailah's channel and to Grace's channel. Everything is linked in the description so you don't miss out on these weekly recaps. But before we even get into our recap, we have to talk about, because I know, Lailah, you love the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City as much as I do. The trailer dropped. What are your thoughts?
I love it. I love the drama. I love those women. Like, they have a good group of women on that show, a good group of different personalities. And I'm so excited to see, Mary Cosby being confronted about her allegedly being a cult leader. I've done a video on that. And the website for her church makes it clear that things are a little bit shady over there. So I'm excited to see that. It does. I'm
going to have to link the video that you did on that. I did link one of the other recent videos that you did. We'll get into, because we're going to talk about body shaming, things like that. But I want to link people to that Mary Cosby video because I need to rewatch it. I remember you did one a long time ago.
Yeah, her website says this is not your typical church. And it goes into their, every church has a statement of belief. So it goes into their statement of belief. So they make it clear that it's not your typical Christian church. So I'm excited to see that. Yeah, they do. I'm excited to see that. Of course, I want to see Jen Shah and that whole breakdown, because anybody who takes advantage of the elderly, like my mom is elderly, and she's getting to the point where sometimes, people call her on the phone or she'll read something online and she might believe it because she don't realize people are really out here scamming you. Yeah. So I want to see Jen Shah go down, because from my understanding, most of the people on her little, list of people to scam are elderly people. So I want to see her go down.
Well, it is to be noted, according to legal terms, elderly is 55 and up. No offense to the 55s and up, but that's what, by legal terms, they consider that elderly. But you're right. But based on the trailer of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, I don't see remorse. Very much like Erica Girardi in Beverly Hills. But this is different because they're saying that Jen Shah is actively the person involved here in these criminal acts. Lailah, did you see the video I did yesterday where we were going through the auction for Tom Girardi's law firm? And girl.
No, because I don't watch, Erica Jane and all of them. I actually don't watch them. I kind of keep up with them a little bit on social media, but I don't actually watch the show.
Girl, you're missing on a good season.
So what, they showed them auctioning off their
property? I did. I found this one of the people, one of my wonderful subscribers sent me the auction list. So we went live yesterday while I'm still struggling with the headache, y'all. And we went through the list of like the different office supplies. There was some Erica Jane memorabilia. I mean, this is a whole look. They take BravoCon to a whole other level. But I'm excited. I just don't see the remorse from Jen Shah that I think that we need for this trailer. But maybe we will see it. But her making a joke at the end about Kim Kardashian representing her.
Yeah, but you have to keep in mind, for someone who's fighting the case, they're not going to show you remorse because they're they want to come across as innocent. So if she was to show remorse, that could kill her whole case.
This is true. Oh, you always make sense, Lailah.
Shame on me.
No,
I'm
Lailah,
just saying.
First of all, I thought of you and Grace watching this latest episode of the Real Housewives of Potomac, because female perspective, a mother's perspective is important, because I don't have children. I'm not a mother and I'm not a female. So I need your perspective on a lot of different areas from this episode.
Yeah, I did see that video last night when you were talking about that. And thank you for mentioning me and thinking of me and wanting my perspective. I was like, oh, I was watching.
I mean, these YouTube streets aren't always the kindest. You've been kind since the beginning.
Well, thank you.
And I've been a fan for forever, so.
And you too, but I had never saw your face either. But I feel like I used to listen to Kempire Radio, like back in the day when I used to like work a job, and I feel like I would be at work listening to Kempire Radio. But it's a lot going on with the Real Housewives of Potomac, with the body shame. I will say this, okay. So, and we discussed this last week when Wendy made that tweet and said that Gizelle was body shaming her. Mm-hmm. And the conversation online was kind of like, is that a reach? Because it was about a particular outfit.
Yeah.
Like the outfit she had that had cleavage, a bare midriff, and some type of cutouts on the bodysuit. And so people were like, is that really body shaming? Like, she's just saying she doesn't like your outfit. It was kind of like in between.
Yeah.
But then when you see this episode and you see Gizelle saying, you know, I've seen a lot of your skin and we need to talk about that. Then you get what Wendy is saying about the body shaming.
Do you think Giselle's a little jealous?
I don't know, because Gizelle has a nice body.
She does. But does she have Wendy's body? Wendy's body. That's some good work. I don't care what anyone says. She can show it whatever way she wants to show it. But that's some good work.
I think Gizelle is the type of person that likes a hierarchy within her friendships. Like, I think she wants to be the cutest one. She wants to be low-key the most fashionable one. Even if you like her fashions or you don't, I think she wants to be the most out of her friends. Like, you know what I mean? And so, you know, that's why she hangs around with people like Robin. And now with Wendy coming out of her shell, I think Gizelle is trying to push her back down. Like, wait a minute, you know, I'm the cute one. Like, I think she's a little bit threatened by Wendy coming out a little bit.
And that goes also to what we've been hearing, you know, the day of that spa party for Ashley, we hear the reason why why Zen Wen wasn't so zen was because she did have an argument with Gizelle that we didn't see. And you're starting to see the little cracks in their friendship. Even in this episode, you sort of see when Wendy laughs at what Karen says about Gizelle, you see Giselle's face go.
Yeah. Gizelle, she gives me so much big sister, mother may I, you know what I mean? Like, as far as her sorority connection, like, she really wants Wendy to act like a pledge to her. And it's not happening this season. No. Last season it did, but this season it's not happening. And she's reacting to that. I'm here for it too. Like, even though Wendy might not be my favorite, and I might not agree with everything she's doing on the show, I do agree with Wendy standing on her own and not taking a side, like not being team Gizelle. I do agree with Wendy making that difference this season.
Yeah. What do you think of, though, the fight at the very beginning of this episode? We get a Gizelle and Karen multiple fights in this episode. The very beginning, they start off back where they ended, and Karen's like, "Are you talking to me?"
Don't you love it?
I'm living for Karen. Like I've said multiple times, I didn't start off loving Karen in the earliest seasons, but she really has grown on me. And this episode makes you love her even more, the way that she defends Wendy. But at the top of this episode, they're going back and forth. And surprisingly, Candace is the voice of reason.
Now, why does that surprise you? Let me ask you that. Why does that surprise you that Candace would be reasonable?
I mean, don't get me wrong. She's been reasonable before, but she really is stepping into her being this voice of reason for grown folks. These people are older than she is. And she really made a lot of sense. She really made a lot of sense. And I'm a straight shooter. I like to give people credit when it's due. Yeah. But I was a little shocked. And then when she later says this when they are talking about Wendy, when she calls them what, twiddle and twaddle. She referred to Robin and Gizelle. I was like, what is a twaddle? I was like, they're not gonna like that. They're not gonna like her. It is what it is. They don't always have Candace's back either. So it's no surprise to me that Candace has no loyalty to them. But you weren't surprised by Candace being the voice of reason?
Not so much, because I've never judge Candace in a way as unreasonable. And I think last season when the fight happened with Monique, I think a lot of people did. I think a lot of people judge Candace as unreasonable because she was like, hit me, Monique, or something, drag me. She was like, drag me, Monique. And then when Monique dragged her, she was mad. So a lot of people felt like she's an unreasonable person, but I never necessarily felt that way. I never felt she was unreasonable. I felt like she got a lot of mouth, but I never felt she was an unreasonable person to begin with. Yeah. And even when they flash back to the fights between Karen and Gizelle, you see one fight where Karen and Gizelle are fighting in a hotel lobby, and Candace is telling them, y'all too old to be fighting in the lobby like this. So she has stepped in before, and I'm glad to see her do it again, because I feel like they need that. I feel like they need that reality check. Like, y'all need to sit down and decide, are you going to listen to each other? Like, what are you going to do? Like, you need to sit down and have that conversation.
Separate from the group, which I agree with. Sometimes when everyone's watching and chiming in, that just makes the situation worse and you can't find common ground. I wonder if in this trip later on that we see them have that one-on-one conversation, because I just don't see them making peace. Do you?
I know, no, I don't. Even when they suggested that, I was like, it's gone too far. At this point, just like, you know, on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, at a certain point, the beefs between certain people, like I think even like Kandi and Portia, for example, even though they try to be friendly for the show, so the show don't come off crazy, some people are never going to be friends again. And I'm okay with that because that's reality. It's okay if somebody has hurt you, especially physically. If somebody has done harm to you physically, mentally, or spiritually, I'm okay with saying, I am not going to be that person's friend again. Like, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah. Can we talk a little bit about the estate versus the cottage? The cottage is 5 minutes away. We get to see the cottage. What I'm hearing, according to sources, is that they did play a game, and that's how the women ended up in the estate versus the cottage. So they edited that part out from what I'm hearing. So
okay, well that's good. That's good to know.
Now it makes sense.
It makes sense. I looked at that website because I was like, the rooms look kind of cute. And I love a room with like it's a certain type of bathtub that was in the estate. So I looked it up. I was like, maybe I need to stay here. And I saw the cottage on the website and I saw the estate. And it is a big difference between the two.
It's a huge difference.
Yeah.
But I also think that's a pre-production thing. I think they want to create tension. So that's part of what they're doing.
Right.
I honestly don't believe Candace was like, oh, I'm going to book this and then you guys are going to say, no, I think that was really pre-production, trying to get a reaction. But I have to say, seeing Wendy, Askale, and Karen together, the energy was just different. I liked seeing them together and interact and have fun with each other. Yeah,
it gave you a vibe. It definitely gave you a vibe. I really like Wendy and Karen together, and I like Askale too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely noticed that as well. Like you see like almost like sisterhood or just friendship. Yeah. And even though these shows are allegedly about friendships, you don't always see friendship on these type of shows.
No, not at all. And like I said, I feel like we're going to see a bond between the three of these women that we wouldn't have seen. And I honestly don't think that Askale is really friends with Robin. I don't think so
either. Even when they're all at the table and you see Askale kind of like co-signing Wendy, you get the feeling like, okay, this ain't Robin's real friend. You know what I mean? Robin didn't get her on the show. Like how Gizelle got Robin on the show, Robin didn't get Askale on the show. So you could tell Askale doesn't have loyalty to Robin.
And we don't have any background on how do they know each other. We just saw her show up, with the embezzle hats.
And we were supposed to believe it. We were really supposed to believe that Askale be in Robin's warehouse. No.
I don't understand why they don't just be real. Like these people don't know each other. Find another way of introducing them to the show. Yeah. You know what I mean? I just feel like it's so forced. Like, we're going to pretend that, this is your friend. No, we don't need that. We don't need that at all. But speaking of Askale, we're getting a little bit more of her. What you saw so far this episode, how are you feeling about Askale?
I love what I'm seeing so far on this episode. Like I said, I didn't like the last episode. It might have been editing, but when she came out of nowhere and was like, I can't be silent anymore, that kind of confused me. But on this episode, I did like what I saw from her on this episode. First of all, let me just say, I think she's so beautiful. I think she's so beautiful. I think she is.
And the fashion. Her fashion is
she's cute. And it's a classic type of fashion, like the big straw hat she had on, the white button down. Like it's a very classic type of fashion that I enjoyed that from her. And then you see people, I hate to talk about people's fashion, but then you see people like Gizelle, what she's wearing. And it's a big difference. So I like the pop of newness and the pop of freshness that Askale is giving us.
She's giving us hair. She's giving us makeup. She's giving us fashion. I mean, she's giving us shoes. I'm like, whoa, she's coming out the gate.
Yeah.
Knowing the assignment.
Yeah.
But I agree with you, though. What we've seen of her up until this point was sort of like, who's that coming out from the corner? You know what I mean?
Right.
Even at the table with the other ladies, we get another moment where she asked Gizelle about her relationship, but we'll get to that. Before we get to that, we have to talk about Ashley and Michael Darby.
Okay, if we have to, we will. Okay.
I have to say, though, this was probably one of the funniest moments. Yes, cute pictures. I thought the pictures were amazing.
Beautiful gown.
Beautiful gowns. But Michael's conversation with Ashley, first of all, it seemed as if she was asking for permission to go leave for a day. I got that energy a little bit, that she was asking him for permission.
This is the thing. I don't know. Okay. I just feel like sometimes if you're married and you have children and you're saying to that other person, like, you want to get their input.
Yeah.
So it's not, I think it might come across as permission, but in reality, it's like, you're trying to make sure everything is okay with the other person, the other spouse.
Yeah.
But I didn't pick it up as permission. I picked it up as, we're a team and this is what I want to do. How do you feel?
I think Michael is really trying to give us a certain image, and the only reason why I thought it was almost giving us her asking permission was because they've had tension before about her leaving the baby. Speaking of the baby, I have to ask you about Jaundice. I don't know if you know anything about Jaundice.
Yeah, I do.
I was thinking of you during the episode. I was like, I don't know anything about babies and jaundice, and I've only heard of it before. But before we get into that, I just have to say, Dean, he is such a mood.
When he looked at that photographer, it was like, when they was like, say hello, he was like, nah.
Okay, but talking about jaundice, that's something that Ashley reveals in this episode, that Dylan had jaundice and she had to do light therapy and things like that. And I know we had someone, Obi, call in last night and kind of explain that there are different types. I was like, I love when we have listeners know what's going on.
Yes,
yes. What's your experience with John or thoughts on that?
I have a little bit of experience with it with my second child. He had jaundice, and both of my children have been, what do you call it when they give you a due date? Induced. I had inductions with both of my children because I also had gestational diabetes. And I think that's the reason I got inducted. But anyway, so he was a week early. My daughter was induced on her due date, but he was a week early and he had jaundice, but I feel like it was very, very mild. And so when I gave birth to my son, they did put him under like the light therapy for a while, but it was so much going on when I gave birth. And I remember seeing him under the light therapy and I was just kind of like, they give you so much medicine for me, I didn't do a natural birth. I got an epidural. I got everything you could get. I got. So it's almost like you're high. And so I remember seeing him under the light therapy and not liking it. Like, why is my baby under there? I remember thinking that, but then it must have been so mild because it didn't last long. And I actually forgot he had jaundice until like his first doctor's appointment. I'm taking him to the doctor and I'm asking the doctor, like, why are his eyes a little bit yellow and my daughter's eyes are white? And the doctor was like, he has jaundice. It's a mild form of jaundice. So yeah, it's like your caller, Dr. Obi was saying, it's different levels to it. In my experience is with like the lowest level, it was so low to where I forgot that he had jaundice. But it can be scary. Anytime, something happens to your newborn, it can be really scary.
Yeah.
And I'm glad hers was not, the worst kind.
Yeah. When I heard that, I was like, I don't know anything about this. But the messiest part of that conversation had to be when Michael Darby asks about because first of all, Ashley asks if he knows of someone for Gizelle. Really, Ashley, this is what you want to do?
I like that.
And then he says, "Is Juan available?" What was your reaction to that?
Gizelle did say Juan was fine.
she said it all the time.
Yeah, because she means it. She means it. And he is.
How would you feel like one of your good girlfriends would say that about your husband?
I don't like that. I like my girlfriends who I consider my sisters. Like my best friend, we call each other twin. Like we are like sister soulmates. Wow. And so I like that she looks at him like a brother. Like, let's keep it all brotherly, sisterly. Don't be telling me, he think he fine. He looking good, girl. No, ma'am. Because then I'm going to look at you different. And I'm not going to bring you around him. I would not. If I was Robin and Gizelle, as many times as Gizelle has called Juan fine, even though Juan is probably not interested in Robin, I wouldn't even bring Gizelle around Robin because I don't like that energy. You got to give me brother sister energy. Man.
Would you bring Michael Darby around your husband?
Only because he's not, he wouldn't be.
Oh,
but I don't know, now that you ask, I might not. If he thinks he's so fine, I don't want us both looking at him. You know what I mean?
Well, last season, Michael Darby predicted what all of us predicted, that Robin and Juan would not get married. And he's insisting still that these two will not get married. What was your reaction to that?
I was like, I got to give it to you. You are right. You are right. People tease Michael Darby and they was like, okay, you don't want him to marry Robin because you want him for yourself. But when it comes down to it, he was like, he knows something about Juan and Juan is not going to marry Robin. And so far, he's right. You got to give it to him. So far, he is right.
Yeah. I mean, look, the rumor on the street was that Robin either had to get married or have a baby. You saw early in the episodes, they alluded to having a girl. I just feel like all of these rumors are coming true so far. So I don't want to scare you, Lailah, but the Eddie rumors are coming up next week. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what receipts might drop in the coming weeks, but you heard it here first.
Okay. I'll tag you if I have to report on the Eddie rumors being true. I will definitely tag you, but I just don't see it.
Eddie and Dr. Wendy Asefa were on Watch What Happens Live last night. They looked amazing. I mean, she looks great. I mean, Eddie is a cute man. I mean, he's a cute.
Yeah, he's handsome. He's handsome.
Yeah, very, very. They're a handsome couple.
Okay. I'm not used to calling a woman handsome, but okay.
That's what they say. Isn't that something that they say? Oh, you guys are a handsome couple? Or am I just making that up?
I've heard of a beautiful couple. I haven't heard of a handsome couple, but if that's what people say, then okay, we can go with that.
They're a very good looking couple. They are very good looking family. They were on Watch What Happens Live last night, even talking about some of the issues that have been playing out on the show. But Gizelle and Robin have a conversation about Wendy. What was your reaction? And then I think it was bad editing because they made it seem as if Wendy was sort of walking around the house and was just coming up as they were talking about it. I don't know if that was necessarily the situation, but that's unimportant. What was your reaction to the conversation that Gizelle and Robin are having about this new Zen Wen?
I thought it was terrible. I was like, who sits down and have, especially adults, what adults sit down and have those type of conversations like Wendy is showing too much skin? Why is Wendy dressing the way she's dressing? This is not the Wendy I've known. I was like, this is pathetic. Y'all two grown women, head of household, like you got your own families, you know what I mean? And you sitting down talking about Wendy, but then the more I watch, the more I realize this is a setup. That conversation was a setup for the Eddie rumors. And that made it even more pathetic. Like, if I can be honest with you, if I can zoom in a little bit, that made it that made it even more pathetic. You're setting it up to, accuse this man or not accuse him, but repeat the rumors that he's been cheating on his wife. That's the whole point, was to set up, the Eddie rumors. And that's pathetic.
What do you think, though, of what Robin was saying? I don't give any credence to what Gizelle is saying because I feel like Gizelle is bringing this up for her own convenience. Yeah. But Robin says that she feels as if she can't relate to this new Wendy. There was a part of me that got what Robin was saying, and that's the part of Robin that I like because she does say things sometimes. I'm like, okay, Robin's very relatable in that way, and she's saying that if she had met this Wendy today, would she connect with this Wendy versus the one she met last year?
I thought it was interesting, but I feel like, you don't really know a person. Like it takes a long time to really know a person. So when you say you don't know this new Wendy, and you're saying new Wendy, and then when you see Wendy talking to her own, she's like, this is who I've always been. So I feel like Wendy came on the show last season with this perspective that she was going to be Dr. Wendy on the show. And I feel like the reaction to Dr. Wendy made her change her mind. That's what I really think. I really think that this is part of her personality in real life, and she's showing more of it. And when they say, I don't know this new Wendy, I don't think it's necessarily a new Wendy.
Yeah.
I feel like it's new to you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like when you buy a used car, they say it's new to you. I feel like it's new to you, but it's not necessarily a new Wendy. And if you can't connect with another woman, like that's on you. Like I don't think Wendy is doing anything crazy that somebody can't connect with.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. You know, I mean, here's the thing. I do believe that this is a 180 when it comes to the Wendy that we were introduced to last season. But I also believe that, you know what, we all have different personalities in different settings. When we're at work, we're not talking about housewives like this, unless you're at the water cooler.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and especially as Black people, we do all kinds of things to assimilate in different environments. I mean, I think more than any other, culture or whatever it may be,
we do
know how to assimilate. So I don't necessarily believe that Wendy is different that much. I think she has a new body, she has new confidence, so that's going to read differently, especially on TV, especially when we're getting edited versions of her. We have to keep that in mind. We do have to keep that in mind, because a lot of people get really upset and really impassioned about the show, about these characters on a show, but we forget that in reality, this is an edited version of what we're seeing.
Yeah, and I also want to bring up, people are commenting about how people forget, and it's like the show didn't focus on, maybe it didn't focus on it enough. Yes, that Wendy was 2 months postpartum. Yeah. And when you're postpartum, it's so much going on. You know what I mean? Like, especially if you're breastfeeding, or even if you're not, just being 2 months postpartum, it's just a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like your body changing. This is her third baby. You know what I mean? So it's just a lot that goes along with that. And I feel like they don't always present Wendy as a mom the same way they present Ashley as a mom, for example. Like they show Wendy's kids, but at the same time, they don't focus, her daughter is getting older, but her daughter's still a baby. And you don't see Wendy like rocking her baby. You know what I mean? They don't show her motherhood, like the vulnerable, like I believe in real life, Wendy is at home, you know what I'm saying, with her babies in her arms.
We get a little glimpse of her missing being at home and worrying about the kids in this episode. I'm not fully versed on postpartum, but I know it can last a long time. So she could technically still be in it, right?
Yeah, as far as postpartum depression, but even if you're not depressed, even if you just had a baby 2 months ago and you're fine, it's still a lot. Like physically, it's a lifestyle change. It's just a lot. That's I feel like you have to have gone through it to understand it. But when I say it's a lot, it's just a lot. So anybody at 2 months postpartum, you have to understand that they just had a baby, and you have to give them some grace. You know what I mean? You have to give them some grace. And I don't think Gizelle does that. Like when Wendy said, and she brought up, okay, I was 2 months postpartum when we were filming last season. And because Gizelle had said, okay, so last year you weren't confident with your body, totally ignoring the fact that she had just had a baby. Like if you see her with a big stomach, it's because she just had a baby. Like Gizelle was completely ignoring that and kind of like trying to pin Wendy down for Wendy to say I wasn't comfortable with my body last year. And I'm glad Wendy said it's because I had just had a baby.
Sometimes I mean, I know it's been a long time since, Gizelle's had children, but sometimes when I see Gizelle around children, sometimes I see when she talks about women, I'm like, did you have children? I understand you may be talking about something because I've never had a child and I don't have any kids, but you have.
Right. So you would think you would see that connection there. Like when you see Gizelle and maybe Ashley's kids, you would think that Ashley's kids would kind of take to her because she's a mom and she knows how to talk to them. But then you don't see it. You don't see the connection.
Last week, we got to see a little bit of that when she was talking about her birth with the twins, with Ashley. And I was like, oh my God, this is a nice side to see, from Gizelle, that she's connecting on this level. She's sharing a little bit more about her experience, which I was actually surprised about. But every once in a while we get that, and then we get this other side, like she just doesn't connect. I'm like, all right, Gizelle.
She doesn't connect. It's like she doesn't connect to new moms. And at the same time, my personally, I give Gizelle a little bit of grace because she also experienced trauma at that time. Like her man, and like I said, when he had a baby, you don't have to say allegedly, but her man was out there having babies with other women when she was pregnant, when she was, during that maternity time for her. So for Gizelle, that's a period of trauma. So maybe that's why, she can't really connect with that.
Yeah.
But it's sad to see.
For those that are just joining us, of course, we're doing our weekly recap. We're missing our girl, Grace. I know she was in the comments. Hey, Grace. Don't forget, every single Monday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern on one of our channels, either on Lailah Lynn's channel, the Kempire Daily channel, or Grace Report channel, we are recapping the Real Housewives of Potomac every single week. Love doing this with these ladies. They're incredible. I love getting a different perspective, especially a female perspective on what's going on here, especially right now with everything that's happening with Dr. Wendy Asefo.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Speaking of which, shout out to everyone in the chat. I know I'm trying to keep the conversation going and see what you guys are saying. So it's a lot going on.
Yeah, and also I just want to say really, really quick, the way it's set up, I can't respond in the chat. So the people saying hey to me, hey y'all, I just can't respond. But hey y'all, I see you.
We see you guys, and you know what? I think they don't even care. I think they're having their own conversations. They're responding to what we're saying. We appreciate you all being here. We have over 400 and almost 500 people in the chat. Like this video if you haven't liked it already. Subscribe to the channel. I've posted Lailah's and Grace's information in the chat. So follow them on Instagram, follow them on Twitter. They're active on all that. And of course, follow them here on YouTube. We're live also on Facebook. So be sure to like this video and follow there as well. So let's get to the meat of this episode before we get to the ending of the episode. Because the ending, I could cry just thinking about the conversation that Karen and Dr. Wendy had.
Yeah.
But at the table, we get another battle. Of course, Gizelle and Robin are tag teaming Wendy about her body. And one of the biggest things that
it's like in real life, who does that? Who does that? I've never been in a group of women who I call friends, or even if we're not friends, even if we're just like a circle, getting to know each other. Like I've never been in a group of women where we tag team another woman about her body. Like that is
an advantage you do. Well, Wendy, on social media, we're always getting like tea from what they're saying. On social media, Wendy is responding to the things that were said during this conversation. I just want to show you guys a little bit of what she said. She says how a woman dresses and what she decides to do with her body has no bearing on her intelligence. We must stop trying to put people in a box. Women can be smart and sexy at the same time. We should be allowed to live life on our own terms, not others. Then she also said this, and this was such a great moment, Lailah, where she says, I define my sexiness, not you.
Yes, Wendy. Yes. Don't make me become a fan, Wendy. I told y'all Wendy sent me that cease and desist. Oh. I still might be a fan.
She had the nerve not to make it special for you.
Right. It was not custom. It was the same cease and desist they sent everybody. So I was offended because you don't threaten legal action to me based on what somebody else did to you. So yes, I was offended, and I don't like that. But at the same time, Wendy is right. She does, as individuals, we do define our sexiness. Like when Gizelle was trying to tell her, okay, well, Wendy, girl, you was fine last year, after you were 2 months postpartum and still had, the little belly from having your baby and, whatever shape you had going on then, that was sexy too, which I'm sure it was to her husband. I'm sure it was just fine. Yeah. And, that's something we don't see. We don't see her husband saying, oh, you need to do better. Like we don't see Eddie complaining about Wendy. Yeah. But at the same time, when Wendy was like, I define my sexiness, not you. I was like, you're right, girl. You're right. I mean,
she's right. I mean, that even spoke to me too. Look, I haven't really been a fan of Wendy, but I've been really open to Wendy because I didn't dislike her last season.
Right.
I'm not sure how I feel about her. Yeah. And this season, I still was on the fence, especially when she was going up against Mia. I was just like, what's happening here?
I think that was edit. They didn't show us what is her beef with Mia. And I was lost on that too.
Yeah, and I think also there was a lot going on behind the scenes. Like I said, at the spa party, there was a battle with Gizelle. So she was frustrated in a lot of different ways. But at this table, there's a conversation, of course, about her body. What were your thoughts on how Gizelle and Robin were addressing this topic with them? And then Karen coming to her defense.
I appreciate Karen coming to her defense, but just the fact that, Wendy had made a comment. She had said something about her boobs or her skin or something. Wendy had said some type of comment, and Gizelle was like, yeah. No, she was like, my boobs have been bigger since something. And Gizelle was like, yeah, we got to talk about that.
Because she was eating. Because she kept on eating. She's like, her boobs are getting bigger because she's...
Yeah. When she said that. And I'm like, okay, you want to have a conversation with me about my body?
Yeah.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Like in real life, what is wrong with you? You know what I mean? Like, what is wrong with you?
And my thing is, even if the conversation was about, oh, you felt like she's changed from last year, why didn't you have that conversation with her when she came to Robin's room before you guys went out to dinner? Why did it have to be amongst the group, especially when it's so personal?
Right. But why do you care about? Why do you care so deeply about Wendy changing? Because you don't really know Wendy like that. Let's be honest. You don't really know her like that. She's not your best girlfriend. So why do you really care about her changing and her personality being different than what you thought it was? In reality, you are mad because Wendy told Robin to stop tag teaming and jumping in when you and Karen are going at it. So you're mad at me. So be honest. Just be honest and say, girl, I'm mad at you because I have this, this body double here, that's supposed to have my back. And you tried to stop that. Just be honest, Gizelle, and say that's what it is. And, be honest that I'm going to come at you with whatever I can because of that.
Yeah. Well, but, before we even get in, because we're going to go back there.
Okay.
There parts of the conversation, because this is the interesting part, because the scholar, chimes in. But there, Candace opens up about Chris managing her, and then Wendy, and I thought of you guys a lot last night. Wendy, Gizelle brings up, she doesn't think that's a good idea that Chris is managing her because potentially she'll be like supporting him. And that reminded me, and I know you covered this story when Wendy Williams addressed Tabitha Brown's husband's situation, and then Tabitha got together in a very polite way. What was your reaction to the dynamic that Gizelle is talking about in Candace's relationship?
Well, I do understand what she's saying. If your man is living off you, like if you want a certain type of relationship, if you want a relationship where your man is the one almost like caring for you, like if you want almost like a traditional relationship, but then at the same time he lives off you, he gets his money from you, that's not the right road to go down if you want a certain type of relationship. Yeah. If you don't care about gender roles, you know what I mean? If you don't care who makes the money, if you don't care, who stays home and who doesn't, then I guess it's fine. But I understood what Gizelle was saying. I understood what Candace's mom, I understood where they were coming from with that. I am not a fan with working with your spouse, especially if one is supervising the other, but just period. I'm not a fan of working with your spouse.
So you don't think that Chris should be managing? Because that's the aspect we're thinking. Because, yes, we know Chris to be a chef and other things, I guess. And now he's playing the role of manager. That's not an easy job. That's a 24/7-hour job. I've done it. I've managed musical artists. That's a 24/7 artist. That is a lot of work. It's a female artist. It's very different representing a female artist versus a male artist. There's just a lot more components that you're dealing with. That's part of the reason why a lot of these record companies are like, this is a lot for them to invest in.
Tell us more. What do you mean? What are the other components?
When it comes to makeup, hair, all of those different elements, and also pushing out, they usually put a lot more money into female artists versus male.
Really?
Artists. Yeah.
Really? I didn't.
They usually are the ones really bringing in more money. Are the female artists, to be honest with you. And that's also why they haven't really invested in girl groups anymore, because it could be 3, 4, 5 female artists that they have to push out those types of budgets for. And those record labels aren't willing to do stuff like that.
Yeah, but with a man, okay, I get what you're saying. Like with a man, you're not going to have makeup and the fashion is not going to be that serious. Yeah.
For men, you don't have to get a Louis Vuitton, this or that, to get off that certain image. You could have something that looks expensive, but it's not really expensive.
Right. That's interesting. You gotta share more with us about your past, Kempire.
I've had a story from corporate world, from being a singer to managing singer. It's been an interesting ride, but it's all led me to here, so we can have these sort of conversations.
Yes. So you have insight. When we're having these conversations, you definitely have insight. But yeah,
it's not easy for him. It's not easy. It's not an easy task that Chris is taking on for quote free.
Why you say quote?
Because she said during this episode she's not paying him, but I'm like, I mean, is she not paying him? Is she the one paying the mortgage? Like, we don't know. I don't know.
I never even thought about that. You think Candace is paying her own mortgage?
He's not working. Is Dorothy paying the mortgage?
Oh my God. Where's Grace? Shout out to Grace.
I gotta represent for Grace.
I never even thought about that. Oh my God. Oh my God. I don't want to say too much, you know what I mean? But I just know certain men feel like no matter what happens, you know, in this life, I pay the mortgage. You know what I mean? And so I just can't imagine if Candace is paying her own mortgage. I'm not gonna say too much, ladies. I'm not gonna say too much.
But in defense of Chris, if he's managing her career the way that we've seen him manage her career, like I said, that's a 24/7 hour job. That's not, you know, I check in at 9 a.m. and I check out at a certain time. No, you're getting calls around the clock. Things are coming up. You're trying to manage, and then you're married to the person. So that's a whole other complication.
Yeah, that's the kind of the part that kind of messes with me. Like your relationship with that person, I feel like it might be soured when this person is talking about work all the time. Yeah. And then people say, you know, they could take off one hat and put on the other one. I don't believe that. I don't believe that to be true. I believe it causes resentment in some cases. And so that's why I'm just not a fan of it.
I would love to see the stats on something like that. You know, we've seen a lot of these, you know, artists and, you know, people that are entertainers, you know, have their significant other manage their career. Look, I don't need my significant other up in my business. I'm very hands-on when it comes to every detail of my business. And like I said, I've managed artists before and I managed entertainers before. So for me, it's sort of like, I don't need you to do that. Would I like to have someone there to add some input? Yeah, add some input. But when it comes down to the nitty gritty, I need someone that has the experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah, an outsider, a very experienced outsider.
You know,
so there are no feelings involved.
Yeah, or money.
Yeah, that too.
Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That gets a little complicated. But I'm still a little bored with Candace's storyline. I'm a little bored with it. How do you feel about her storyline this season?
What is it?
Exactly.
I'm not sure. Is the storyline Chris managing her, or is it what is her storyline?
I think you know what it is, and I think it's smart what she's doing. She's really trying to set herself up for what life is going to be after the Real Housewives of Potomac. Acting, singing, you know, those types of things. She's actually not bad actress. I don't know if you've seen some of her acting work. She's not bad.
I don't think she's a bad singer. Yeah, I haven't seen her acting, but as far as her singing, I think she has a nice voice.
Yeah, I think so too. You know, Drive Back is not my favorite. I did like, rest in peace to Chucky Thompson. I love the remix that he did for her wedding song to Chris. So, I mean, I think she's doing the right thing by giving us a more restrained Candace this season so far, because personality in the music industry is so important more than talent. So you have to be likable for people to make great music, you know? So moving on from Candace, we have almost 600 people watching. This is our this is our weekly recap of the Real Housewives of Potomac. Usually Grace is here, but Grace is traveling the world. But
Grace lives a beautiful life. If y'all didn't know that.
I'm trying to be like Grace. Come on, Grace. Shout out to the Grace Report. If you guys aren't subscribed to her channel, all Lailah Lynn's Grace Reports information is in the description of this video. Like this video if you haven't liked it already. We will be back later on today to do a Shahs of Sunset recap with a mix of, you know, the Real Housewives of Potomac in there as well. Because yesterday, Lailah, I know you were watching, we had a subscribers only chat, and we do that every Sunday. That's probably why I have a headache.
Are you taking anything? Or
I am, and it's not working.
Not working.
I might need just to lay down.
And drink a lot. Do you drink a lot of water?
A lot.
Okay, you're drinking water right now. I'm asking because I'm thinking, are you dehydrated? But
no, this is something. Look, this is something else. Look, this is something else.
Well, drink water.
I'm trying. Thank you.
Yeah,
I need a mom in my life.
I will mother you. I will put you upon my bosom, and I will get you together.
Backtracking to this this conversation at the table. Look, before we even get more into this conversation, how are you feeling about the season so far?
I enjoy it. I'm loving it. There have been some lulls in some of the episodes, but for the most part, I'm loving it. I do like when they have their group scenes, like when they have their group dinners, those toxic dinners that they have. I actually enjoy it. Like I would never sit down with these type of meals, and I almost wonder, how do you digest your food with all that drama? You know what I mean? Like when you're eating, you're supposed to be relaxed. You're supposed to be, enjoying your food, being mindful. Like I am blessed to be eating right now. You know what I mean? Because everybody don't get to have these type of meals.
Yep.
And just seeing that, it's kind of like, oh my God, like how are y'all doing this? Like
Wendy talked about that when they were promoting this season. Wendy talked about that. She's learned that, now when she goes out on these meals, she'll get an extra meal because you really don't enjoy the meal.
She did.
Yeah, and then she takes that with her. But it looks like they were enjoying that meal because I saw them at one point. We saw Candace clearing something on her teeth. I was like, that's so shady.
I guess you can't be stopped. For some people, maybe they can't be stopped. But I'm glad to hear that. Wendy said she actually takes an extra meal home, because I was wondering. I was like, "Girl, are y'all digesting the food?"
I'm someone that has to luxuriate in when I'm eating. I can't. I can't be doing too much.
Right.
People are like, oh, you can eat while you're on live. No, I can't. I need to luxuriate in what I'm eating. Okay, no.
Me and you both.
I'm just saying. But Ascala steps, she steps up because, of course, Giselle's talking about Robin's relationship. Well, okay, no, let's talk about Robin.
Yeah, we do need to talk about that.
Yeah.
And Giselle's commentary on Robin's relationship. That was terrible, wasn't it?
Well, okay, we've been talking about Robin and everything that she's been giving us in regards to what she's been experiencing during the pandemic. Depression is serious. Mental health is serious. We did a panel on Scotty by Nature TV, YouTube channel on mental health back in May. It's important. I just honestly feel as if she's using this, though, as a storyline, and she's trying to downplay it by saying, oh, no, it's seasonal depression. All I need is a life coach. And we know there are people, especially within the Black community, that would do the same thing, but I feel like she's downplaying it because it's not real. I hate to say that. I just kind of feel like it's not real for her.
I don't know. I experience seasonal depression. I do. I don't know if it's real for Robin or not. I can't tell if it's real or not. I would hope that she wouldn't fake depression.
Me too.
You know what I mean? Because who does that?
Robin.
That's it. I hope she's not faking it. But I also experience seasonal depression, and
that's a real thing.
It's a real thing. It's a real thing. When it's cold outside, a lot of people are not getting up. You know what I mean?
Last winter that we had with all that snow and it's just constant. Yes. I was like, I get, and we were in the middle of a pandemic, and that's what annoys me a little bit with what Robin possibly is doing. I don't know if this is what she's necessarily doing. That's why I'm very careful on how I'm addressing this, because we know during the pandemic, a lot depression. Therapists were overrun with trying to be there for people during this really tragic time. And also we had a lot of people that committed, suicide during this time. Yeah. So I get what she's saying, but at the same time, based on what we've heard from the streets in regards to her needing to bring a storyline, allegedly they're saying the producers don't even believe that Juan and Robin are together. The producers, and they see behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And that's why that's why the rumor was that she was going to get fired, but Monique left, and that's why they brought her back. They didn't want to have what they're having in RHOA right now. They wanted to make sure they had a full cast.
Right. Yeah, they brought her back, but then they also made her bring in a new person. You know what I mean? So we have to keep that in mind. They made her introduce a new person, which may be her future replacement. But yeah, again, I hope she's not lying about being depressed, but I can't really tell. I just hope she's not. And as far as the seasonal depression, I just feel like more than anything in that conversation, I looked at Gizelle like, okay, if I'm opening up to my friend on camera, like not a real life conversation, but an on camera conversation, I'm opening up to my friend about depression. And then she says, are you neglecting your kids? Girl, what's wrong with you? Like, why are you bringing up my kids? Like, why are you even introducing that into the conversation? I was like, what type of friend does that?
A lot of people were questioning Giselle's friendship because she called, first of all, saying that your soon-to-be husband is unattracted to you because of what's happening, and then bringing up the kid situation. But Robin responds, it's like, yeah, I am neglecting my kids.
Yeah, when she said her kid had a 48 and whatever course that was, he has a 48, he does half of what he needs to do. And then you think back to the scene, like we did see her putting her child on Zoom in the dark, you know what I'm saying? Like, letting him wear his blanket in class. It was dark. She didn't turn on the lights.
No, you always bring that up. She didn't even turn on the lights.
Yeah, because that bothered me. That bothered me so much. I can't imagine letting my daughter do her little classes in the dark with a blanket wrapped around her. You know what I'm saying? Like, it might be comfortable for them, but in reality, it's not the best learning environment. Like, you need light, you need interaction, you need some type of, you need them to be excited. You know what I mean? But if you're depressed and you're letting your kids low-key be depressed too and do their classes, under the cloud of your depression, that's not okay. It's not okay for Robin to do, but then I also felt like for Gizelle to bring it up on camera was not okay either.
But I just had a thought. Miss Lailah Lynn. What if, because they are in cahoots with making sure she has a storyline, she's okay with Gizelle bringing this stuff up because it reiterates her storyline. It gives her storyline some sort of credence. You
could be right, because she didn't get mad when Gizelle brought up her kids and was like, are you neglecting your kids? Most mothers would be like, am I neglecting my kids? Like, girl, what you talking about?
I'm like a private eye right now, just like that.
But you might be right, because she didn't get mad. So it might have been something that they agreed to discuss earlier. Yeah. You could be right with that, Kempire. We'll give it to you. We'll give it to the Kempire.
I got one. But then, okay, so at this dinner, we're gonna wrap this up in just a second. At this dinner, Gizelle is bringing up all these conversations, Candace's relationship, Robin's relationship, or she's digging into the relationships. And of course Wendy in her boob situation. And then Ascala comes from the left, as always, and it's like, what about your relationship?
Are you in a relationship?
What's going on with that? We keep hearing different things. I was like, oh, you keep hearing different things, Ascala? Do tell.
Yes, that's what I said. Tell it, girl. What you been hearing? I think Ascala was produced. I think the way these reality show works. Like, each of the characters has a producer assigned to them that gives them advice. Like, maybe you should ask this person this, ask this person that. This would be the perfect time to say this. And so when I see Ascala asking these questions, I'm like, okay, she is following the producer's advice. And I'm not mad. Question Gizelle. Gizelle questions everybody else. She want to know about other people's bodies. You know what I'm saying? So question Gizelle and ask her, are you in a relationship? Let's start there. That's a very basic question.
And Gizelle says, I'm not going to bring that up with the troll at the table.
And I love that because I understood that, because I've been asked questions in front of people that I've been like, you know what, this is not a public conversation. But with Gizelle, she's a reality TV star, so it is a public conversation, is it not?
And you saw that Dr. Wendy was like, you can't do that, because everyone else is talking about their relationships and you're always asking and digging into other people's relationships. And that's another reaon why Gizelle is not liking Wendy, because Wendy is like a straight shooter like me. Everyone's fair game. You know what I mean? And then, oh my goodness, this part gave me life. And this is why we know there's going to be drama between Dr. Wendy and Gizelle. When Gizelle and Karen are going back and forth on it. Sidebar, Karen bringing up the pubic hair, I was very uncomfortable. Your face. I was very uncomfortable. I was like, Karen, every once in a while you get it, and then every once in a while it's like, Karen, abort, Karen, abort.
Abort mission.
Please.
Abort mission.
No, not the pubic hair. But,
I got the gist of it.
Yes, but when she said to Gizelle, your life is a lie, and Dr. Wendy laughed. You saw Gizelle's face?
Yes.
So we know trouble is in paradise.
Right.
What were your feelings on the rest of this evening?
You know what? I feel so bad because I am so entertained by the drama. So part of me feels bad. Like, girl, this is so messy. But I'm watching though. I'm watching. So I'm entertained, but I do agree with Karen that Gizelle's life is alive. She's trying to present this life as if she's really dating and, considering remarriage to Jamal Bryant. And he's on live talking about they taking baby steps, and his ex-girlfriends are coming out of the woodworks. It's kind of like Karen is not wrong.
Yeah.
Karen is not wrong. And I love Karen's conversation with Wendy at the end of the episode. And I like that Wendy opened up and was like, Gizelle hurt her feelings when she commented about her body and her presenting her body or her skin, so openly or whatever. I like that she was honest about, that hurt my feelings because she connected me showing my body to me being a woman of substance.
Yeah.
And which Gizelle did. She kind of slid it in there like a snake when she was talking about Wendy, showing more of her skin. Yeah, like a snake. She slithered it in and she was like, I'm used to a Wendy with more substance.
Yeah. And then Wendy professional said my left boob got more substance than Gizelle. And she's right.
I believe her. Like, I would love to take one of Wendy's courses. I believe even the course they described, like on the last episode, they were talking about the hyper, what do you call it? The hyper discipline, more than discipline, but the hyper punishment of Black people, Black and brown people, Black and brown kids in school, like how we're punished more than white people for doing the same things in school. I was like, that sounds like a good course. You know what I'm saying? I bet you teach the hell out of that course. So I would love to, be in one of her courses. But for Gizelle to make the comment like Wendy is lacking substance, it's like, no, ma'am.
But you know what? It segued to the conversation that you just said between her and Karen. And I honestly, she won me over in that moment because I felt for her. I feel like we really got to see Wendy, the insecurity, the purity as well at that same time, where she's talking. First of all, she talked about, missing her kids, and then talking about how Gizelle hurt her. And then Karen, like the real mom, came out. She's like, well, you cry here. Don't give her that. Yeah.
Yeah. Because she's low-key a monster. Gizelle has found a target in Wendy and she's going after Wendy. And to me, that makes Gizelle a monster. You know what I mean? So you don't give a monster your tears. You know what I'm saying? You cry at home, you cry around, or you're vulnerable around the people that you can be vulnerable around, but you don't give it to the monsters. And to me, Gizelle comes off as one of the monsters, of reality TV. She doesn't show compassion to anyone that she doesn't care for. And the reason she doesn't care for people is if they question her or cross her. And you got to be deeper than that. As a woman, you got to be bigger than that. People are going to question you on reality TV.
Yeah.
And
do you think that Dr. Wendy, because Karen pointed out that she seemed as if she was covering up when they were going to the pool. Do you think that was intentional, the outfit that she wore? Wow.
It was also white. And I do body language. I do body language analysis. Yes. So we can do that real quick.
Yeah, let's do that.
So it was conservative. Like you can see it was some type, I want to say it was like a 3-piece outfit, like some type of shirt, then like under maybe like a bralette or something, and then the pants. But it was also white. And a lot of times people wear white when they want to come off as innocent. And it gave me the feeling like Wendy was kind of like, I'm innocent. Like, I'm not doing nothing to nobody. I got this new body. I paid for it. It looks good. And I'm showing it. Like, I'm innocent. Like, I'm not trying to get nobody's man. Like, I'm not doing anything sinister. So I felt like
get to the pool.
I want to see the booty. I was waiting for Wendy to turn around.
Next week, we're going to have to examine the booty next week.
I want to see when she turns around because I want to see what you got, girl. What you paid for? Like, did you get your money's worth? Like, I mean, in
the outfits, it looks really good. So it will be, look, this gay man will be looking at the booty.
Just seeing what's going on.
Overall, are you excited for next week's episode?
I'm definitely excited. Like you said, with the pool scene and everything that Wendy is giving, like she gave us the innocence and the purity with the white outfit and her vulnerable conversation with Karen. But then when she's in the pool and Gizelle is there, and I feel that when Gizelle is there, like, let me give you my ass to kiss. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna wear this bikini. It look like it might be a thong. So you get all of this. You get all of this dark skin booty, and then tell me how you feel. Tell me how you feel about it.
I do think Gizelle's a little jealous. I think Giselle has a nice body, but she does not have Wendy's new body.
I don't know. Because that's the thing I keep saying. Like, when I look at Gizelle, it do look like she got a nice body. And that's the thing I keep saying. Like, is she jealous of Wendy? And that's why I feel like she's mad that Wendy, I feel like a part of Gizelle is mad that Wendy is now She's not the, lesser of the two physically. Like physically, maybe last season, Wendy is 2 months postpartum. A man looking at Gizelle, looking at Wendy might like Giselle's body better. But now it's kind of like we neck and neck. And I don't think Gizelle likes her friends to be neck and neck with her.
Obviously not. Her best friend is Robin.
Hey, you said it, not me.
And Robin just disliked the video. It's okay, Robin. We know you watch. Wink, wink. Next week, next week we will be on Grace Report's channel. Again, more information on Lailah Lynn, her Instagram, her Twitter. So is Grace's information as well. Subscribe so you don't miss out. Next week, 1:30 p.m. Eastern, our weekly panel of the Real Housewives of Potomac recap. Be sure to like this video if you haven't liked it already. Lailah, overall though, if you had to rate between 1 and 10 this last episode, how would you rate it?
Part of me, because I love Potomac, wants to give every episode a 10 because I love the effort that is behind each and every episode of this show. Even though a lot of people come down on these girls and they say they dress tacky and things like that, being from around this area, like they are capturing the essence of the Northern Virginia area. Yeah, that's what it is. It's a little bit tacky. It's a little bit tacky. It's a little bit fake bougie. Even with Karen, at first she was coming off kind of like fake and bougie. Part of me wants to give it a 10 because they are capturing the essence of the city.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I enjoy all the mess. I enjoy it.
I'm going to give this particular episode a 9. I got to be a little bit more practical.
Okay.
I can't give them a 10
this
just
yet.
New
Yorker talking. This is a New Yorker talking.
Just saying. And I give them a 9 because I had so many different emotions in this episode. I had so many questions. I had to keep rewinding. I laughed with Michael Darby. I was like, oh my God, I have to ask Lailah about this mommy experience postpartum. There's a lot of questions that I had. And of course, we had some really great shady moments. I mean, I thought it was a solid 9. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing. I look forward to next week's episode. Don't forget, guys, we are going to be recapping that on Grace Report's channel next week, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. Don't forget to like this video. Robin already disliked it. It's okay, Robin. It helps the algorithm regardless.
Right.
Thank you. If you guys are watching this afterwards, shout out to our replay crew. Be sure to let us know your rating from 1 to 10. Guys, in the chat, let me know from 1 to 10 what you would rate this latest episode of the Real Housewives of Potomac, and let us know your thoughts on the latest episode in the comment section. Guys, thanks so much for watching. We appreciate you. Shout out to everyone in the chat. I saw all the conversations. We weren't able to get to every comment, but I do want to share the results of our poll. The poll question was, if you had to rate last night's episode, I gave you the options of 1 to 5, or 5 to 7, or 7 to 10. Overwhelmingly, 7 to 10 got 55% of the vote.
Hey, yes, people love Potomac.
People love Potomac. Potomac is doing what it's supposed to do, and we appreciate you all being here. We already have over 600 people watching. Let's get to 300 likes before I end this live. So let's go, people. And let me see what people are saying.
Let us know you love it. Let us know you love it.
Yes, let us know you love it. Okay, wait, look, 9, 7, 8. Lana says, oh, I was heavily tuned in. 10. All right, 7. All right, 8. Data's just he's just trying to be. Data's been following me since Kempire Radio too. He's just trying to be hopeful. he know he wants to give it a 9. All right, guys. All right, we're almost at 300 likes. Let's get to 300 likes before I end this live. Let's go.
What are we at? What number?
295.
Oh my God! So we just need 5 more.
Come on, y'all.
5 more. Oh, wait, it's 600 people,
and we have more
get 300 likes.
Come on, come on, people. We're almost at one more like, y'all. I gotta go to the bathroom too.
Oh no. Kempire is working through a headache. He got to use the bathroom. Y'all got to give this man his life.
And we did it. Over 306 likes. Shout out to Robin for the dislike. We appreciate you. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you subscribe and follow all of us. Support Black business. This is Black business. Yes. This is business, y'all. All the information on everything, both of Lailah's channels, her social media, Grace's channels, and her social media are available in the description of this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you guys later for our Shah's recap. Bye.
Love y'all.